Hello, I'm Mother Nicola, and I would like to share with you something about the sounds here at the Abbey, especially our summer sounds. We are at the lower end of the village here, but to the north of us there is Thanet Highway, and so there is a constant slight hum of the traffic there, day and night. And to the east, which is that way, we have a lot of night work at the moment because Sea-Link is working on a major grid upgrade. Then to the south, the marshes stretch out, and it's a large area, just flat land, and very silent. And when you walk there, you're surrounded just by the silence. But you can hear the bells of St. Mary's, and you can also probably hear the quarter chimes from the big tower clock. And then the fourth point to the west, we hear the sounds from the village. And one of the things we particularly hear, and I particularly enjoy, are the sounds from Minster School, when during term time, during their morning break, you can hear them playing and screaming, and you can practically see the action to go with the sounds that you hear. Now, of course, this is summer break, and so we don't hear that, but over in Parkminster, we have a play area, and there are quite a number of children who come there quite regularly. And among them, our little Ukrainian friend, Yaroslav, who is almost 6 and who loves to come over there and play with his friends. He's made friends at school. His English is getting really good, and they play over there, they race around, they squeal and scream and have a great deal of fun. His whole family is beginning to settle in really well. It's just over a year now that we've been hosting them, and we mark the occasion with a special celebration with the whole family. Within the grounds of the Abbey itself, we're surrounded by beautiful gardens here, the farm, the orchards. We can hear the wind going through the trees. We hear the rain. If you're in the chapel during a rainstorm, it's positively like sitting inside a drum, the loud sounds. We hear the bird songs. We've got a lot of birds nesting around here. We've got the gulls shrieking overhead. But then there are those special moments, for example, just before dawn, the silence, the hush just before the dawn chorus, just shortly before 4 o'clock, or even after vigils, very quiet out in the grounds. And it always reminds me of this amazing poem that Sister Mary Stephen wrote a number of years back. I almost saw you, when she's describing, imagining that out of the corner of her eye, she can just see the Creator at work in the garden. And it's that's really conveyed by that hushed moment. But perhaps you've just heard the trains in the background, so we're by no means secluded here in that sense. The up trains to London via Canterbury and Medway, and then the down trains that come through Minster and go all the way down to Margate and Broadstairs. So, they bring us visitors, they bring us a whole variety of groups coming to us. And among them, for example, a lot of pilgrims. We get pilgrims who join us for prayer. We get pilgrims just coming through wanting a pilgrim stamp. We get people who join us or have their own celebrations. So you hear a Polish pilgrim group singing their songs in the chapel. We recently had a group of Coptic Christians with their own very specially tuned Eastern music. Absolutely beautiful. During the first hot spell this summer, we went out to the patio several times to sing Vespers there because it was very close in the chapel. And just across the road, on the telephone wires, there was a blackbird. And it almost seemed as if he was responding to our singing, because every time the community sang a whole line of the Psalms, he would start trilling, and then he would be quiet, and we would sing another line of the Psalms, and he would come back. So we were really feeling embedded in the bird song and in all the sounds of nature around us. Inside the house, we have become much more attuned in the last months to a particular sound, and that's the sound of the stair lift going up and down. Our Sister John, after her big platinum jubilee early in the spring, had increasing health problems, and her health continued to deteriorate, so that we are now caring for her 24 hours around the clock, and she needs the stair lift. She doesn't always realize she needs the stair lift, so we have to be particularly attentive that somebody's actually with her when we hear that characteristic sound. We can also now hear the voice of several of her carers, some of her morning carers, Belinda and Anne and Joyce, who come to take her for a walk and just look out for her. And then quietly in the evening, around 10 o'clock, when our night carers come in, Diana and Christine and Lorna, who do an absolutely beautiful job of caring for Sister John, and without whose help we would not be able to care for Sister John at home as we want to do. So all these quiet and less quiet sounds characterize our life at the moment as well. But then, of course, there is the center of our life here, the chapel, with the life of prayer. And even if you go into the empty chapel, it feels and sounds in a way by no means empty. And it might sound odd to talk about a silent, empty chapel as not empty, but that is what I feel is there, a silence of welcome and a silence of somebody expecting me as I come in. There's a different quality to the silence when we're actually all in the chapel silently during the adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, as we do almost every day. And then, of course, we have different occasions, like the congregation joining us for Sunday Mass, or a Coptic pilgrimage, a Polish pilgrimage, when the chapel is really filled with the sound of singing in so many different ways, in so many different traditions. And underlying all of this, I feel that right at the back of it and under it is what I would call the deep rhythm of our life of prayer, our daily Eucharist, our daily celebration of the Divine Office, when we come back again and again as a community with our guests, with our friends, with our oblates, to pray in the chapel. And that accompanies us right through the day, and in fact right through the night, until we wake up to another silence in the morning and a dawn chorus.